Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, episode 12, sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I am your host, Kiana Skills, and I have the lovely Aquanette Cooper with me today co-hosting.
Hey y'all, hey.
Today we will be discussing enabling behaviors as well as codependency and compassion. The concept of codependency and enabling sounds simple and straightforward, doing for a loved one or friend what they should be doing for themselves. But it can be incredibly difficult to tell the difference between supporting and enabling a loved one or friend. So what's the difference? After all, enablers want to help their loved ones and friends, and codependency might feel like a healthy support, but enabling allows dysfunctional people to continue to live and operate in dysfunction and allows the individual to be unproductive and unaccountable. Whereas healthy support encourages a person to address the dysfunction in all of its consequences and provides healthy solutions to help aid the individual in a positive, productive manner. Hello, Aquanette. How you doing today, girl?
I'm doing good, Kiana. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's jump right into this episode and see if we can help the listeners to distinguish the difference between being codependent and being compassionate, as well as identifying enabling traits or characteristics.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this thing. All relationships, whether they are courtships or friendships, will encounter some type of friction and conflict at some point. Unfortunately, there is no way to avoid it. One thing for sure is that relationships or friendships will hit a dead end or get stuck when both parties or one party decides to avoid disagreements and conflicts. Now, don't y'all be acting like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. You know, when one says things like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do anything to make my friend or mate upset. How about this one? It's not a big deal. I really don't mind. There's no point in making a fuss about it. There are a lot of reasons one might avoid conflict. Maybe the person never learned how to talk about their feelings or emotions, or it could be that one grew up in an abusive family where disagreements led to yelling or getting physical. Or perhaps it could be that one just feels so much discomfort when they witness someone else's discomfort or pain that they feel like they just have to be Captain Save-A-Friend and fix whatever is going on in someone else's life. Or maybe they just believe that putting someone else's wants and desires before their own desires is the best way to avoid conflict. Now, y'all know what? Friction happens. Just like ish happened, friction happens. So it's best to deal with it before it crystallizes into resentment. Once it crystallizes, it becomes more difficult to address the issue, or should I say issues. Here's where that thin line between compassion and codependency meet. Many will avoid talking about the things that bother them by framing it in terms of compassion. They seem to think that speaking compassionately means never saying something that will lead to the other person feeling sad or hurt by their words. Baby, I'm here to tell you, there is a word for it when someone tries to protect someone's feelings or keeping them from feeling bad. And that word is codependency. I need my listeners to say that word, codependency. Codependency is all about rescuing the other person from their feelings. It is all about what to do or say to make the other person not feel hurt or anger, and taking responsibility for that person's emotions instead of trusting them to take care of their own life experiences and emotional state. Let's look at it like this. It's about losing your individuality and your sense of self-worth because you are more invested in someone else's self-worth. The irony, y'all, the irony is the person will end up creating the very situation they were trying to avoid in the first place. Some common enabling behaviors are avoiding problems by trying to keep the peace. We all tried to do that before. Believing that a lack of conflict will solve problems, keeping your feelings inside, minimizing situations, and telling yourself, it's not so bad. Things will get better in due time if I just leave it alone. These are just a few behaviors. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that at some point in life, we all have played the role of the enabler. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. There is no exception to the rule. Listen, baby, it may be factual, it may be cruel. I ain't lying. Everybody plays the fool.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me repeat that for
Yes,
the people in the
ma'am.
back. Give me some.
That's right.
Give me 5, girl.
Absolutely.
Let me repeat that. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. There is no exception to the rule. Listen, baby, it may be factual, it may be cruel. I ain't lying. Everybody plays the fool. Not sure why these lyrics from the main ingredient R&B group from the album Bittersweet in 1972 ran across my mind. Woo child, that was way before my time, but those lyrics are so dang on true and are so relatable. Nobody wants to be played or made to be the fool in any situation, but truth is, we have all entertained a clown and have become part of the circus. Speak truth. Y'all hear me speaking this truth. Best believe I'm going to speak this truth today. People better learn this mantra. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Simply put, not everybody's problems needs to be a part of your life.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Speak, church, speak. Y'all people need to listen. Y'all listeners, we got something for y'all today. The quickest way to get sucked into someone else's drama is to invite yourself into it by gossiping. Can I get somebody to say, judging, or sticking your nose where it simply does not belong. Y'all know we've all been there. By doing so, you have now consumed yourself with the chaos of others. Now you are at the point of no return, or so you think. So you begin to try to fix, that little chaotic situation that you inserted yourself in, and you think you are helping, and it turns into you being an enabler. Somebody better speak. You all are becoming enablers out here and don't even know it. Or the person becoming solely dependent on you, all because you inserted yourself into a situation that you were not equipped to deal with in the first place.
Correct.
Yes. You should have just stayed in your own lane.
Mind your business.
I wish y'all could see. Yes, I wish they could see the face I'm making. I'm shaking my head because I can visualize this happening with people. And I can visualize them acting in panic mode and being stressed out because the local zoo has now become a traveling circus. Woo, y'all don't hear me talking on this episode. The local zoo has become a traveling circus. That is very problematic. People better learn to be the ringleader of their own circus, because it allows you to have authority to permit any changes in your own life that you deem fit for you. This is called setting clear boundaries for yourself and not allowing others to manipulate you. Woo, I think I got something right here.
Yeah, you got something,
baby.
absolutely. So many of us don't know about that. We don't know about boundaries. We don't know how to set the boundaries because we've been taught. It's been instilled into us to, well, that's your sister, you need to help her. That's your family, you need to help them. And sometimes like we've said before on the other episodes, it could be our own family members, and we have no idea that we've created monsters. Basically, that's what's happened. So when we talk about people that, we know they're a little spoiled, well, that's because there's an enabler somewhere. And sometimes being spoiled isn't necessarily a negative connotation, but at the same time, when it is affecting a person's livelihood, when it's affecting like your mental state of being, there's a problem there.
Yep.
So that's where we get into the codependency, enabling versus whatever compassion is supposed to look like. So there are times where we may think we're being compassionate, but really it's codependency. So an example that I actually have is whenever you're like, just imagine if you're in a boat. It's two people in a boat. It's you and another person. Compassion is actually being in the boat together, and one person is actually rowing the boat because they're the person that has the problem. They have the issue. And you're just sitting there being supportive. You're encouraging them. You're giving them, motivational words, things like that to help, inspire them that they can do it. Codependency is just the opposite. Codependency is we're both in this boat. This is your problem, but I'm going to help you row the boat too.
Right.
That's codependency. And those are things some of us have just been brought up to do. That's just what you do, but it's not healthy.
Right.
And then we tend to feel like we're either taken for granted when it's done for too long, or we just lose faith in ourselves just in general because we have created this situation and now we don't really know how to get out of it because you're in so deep, and then you really don't want to hurt the person's feelings.
Right.
But one of the main things that I did want to point out that is not looked at is, believe it or not, codependency is actually a form of control.
Ooh, yes.
Some people don't realize that when you are managing someone else's feelings or emotions or their temperament, that's control because you're trying to avoid it. Even though it doesn't work, it's not always successful because you don't put up those boundaries, but it is a form of control.
Yeah, we can also think of it this way, like a circus. A circus is a system of complex, beautiful chaos. Notice I said it starts as beautiful chaos.
Yeah.
Pay attention to this story, y'all. Listener land, I need y'all to pay attention. Because, see, a circus is a system of complex, beautiful chaos. It is tightly controlled, active clowns, gymnasts, and monkeys. A net of complex interactions where behaviors and actions are controlled by who? The ringmaster.
Okay.
The ringmaster keeps the monkeys in check. The monkeys willingly obey, doing as they're told. Hopefully, it's flawless performance. Like, hopefully everything is going good. It's flawless, as Beyonce would say. But sometimes, you hear me? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the chaos becomes messy. Sometimes the clown can only cry. Woo, baby. Y'all ain't hearing me today. The gymnast trips.
Yes.
The horse rider falls. The monkeys escape. My God, today. The monkeys escape. I'm going to be gone up out of there. Because, baby, I'm going to be scared. We might kiki at the horse rider falling. The gymnast tripping. We ain't let the monkeys start falling. And we like, what? Flying and escaping. We going to be like, what's going on here? Woo, now the circus is in an uproar, a mess of a show.
Right.
That's like some of our lives.
That's what I was about to say.
Because we allowing others to manipulate us.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But unless you're the ringleader, this is not your show. And you're not responsible. Did y'all hear me?
Thank you. Say it again.
But unless you are the ringleader, this is not your show. And not your responsibility.
Amen. Amen.
We cannot try to control what is not ours to control. We cannot hold the burden of others' problems, nor can we manage the mess of them. We cannot take the whip and take control. It's easy as someone who cares deeply about those close to us, or as passionate leaders, a change maker wanting only better outcomes, results, improvements, to see those monkeys escaping from that circus and want to fix it and fix it fast. You know
That's
how
right.
we think we can fix everybody and fix them fast.
It's a process.
Yes, it is. Control the monkeys and control the mess is what you're thinking as I illustrated this picture for you. Seeking one more simplicity of the complex chaos of a perfectly performing circus. But not my monkeys is a reminder that we are not responsible for other people and their lives.
Say that again. I like that.
Yes, but not my monkeys.
Not my monkeys.
It's a reminder that we are not responsible for other people and their lives. Whether they succeed or fail is their responsibility. The fact is that the best way to help people is to enable them to help themselves.
That's right.
Themselves.
First.
And you hear what I said? You can be an enabler, but you want to enable people to help themselves.
Independently.
Not them becoming, you becoming the enabler and then they becoming codependent on you.
That's right.
Ooh,
Yeah,
y'all gonna learn
right.
something today. Kiana Scales and Aquanet gonna teach you something today.
Amen.
Yes. By taking control, you deny people the opportunity to learn and grow. They need to have the whip firmly in their own hands.
That's right.
Because that whip of self-control is empowering, whatever the consequences are. Change is a circus, but controlling the monkey really doesn't begin from within. From within. I said a mouthful right there. Change is a circus, but controlling the monkey really does begin from within. My God, today we're gonna help somebody in here today out there in listener land. Look, I call them listener lands out there.
I love it.
That's gonna be my new word, listener land. Woo! Aquanet, have you ever been an enabler or been codependent on someone? And if so, what was that experience like?
I have actually done that too many times
Okay.
in my life. I have actually been one of the people that was raised to help everyone. So unfortunately, when I became a young adult and throughout some of my adulthood, if I saw people that I thought needed help or even just needed somebody to talk to, you better be very careful when you try to help people when you think they just need you to talk to them. Because you can easily be sucked in because you feel so bad for their situation. And two of the situations that I actually was in was mainly because those people were experiencing some of the same things I had experienced before. So I wanted to be there to help them go through that. I understood it was a process, but again, I was definitely making their problems my problem too, instead of just really listening and creating a boundary for myself. I didn't know that that's what I needed to do because that wasn't something I was taught. So I couldn't understand why I was just like, exhausted or like, here this person goes again and nothing's changing. And, you know, they've told me 5 or 6 times things are going to change and they're not going to be around that person or in that particular situation anymore, even if it was like family members. And so you just kind of think like, okay, well, who was it? The boy who cried wolf, the girl who cried wolf. Eventually you start to feel that way and you don't want to, because what if that one time they really need you? So you put your own self, or I was putting my own self in a high stressful situation and it had nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. So it took a while for me to understand that. And, you know, we've talked about it before. I went to therapy. That's exactly what I did. Cause I was like, I don't know what's going on in my life. I really thought me being exhausted had to do with just being a single parent, but it wasn't that. It was because I had compiled my issues as a single parent with whatever issues those other 2 people were having. And they're at home sleep, sound. You know,
Not even thinking about
not
you.
even thinking about me at all.
But you so concerned when
I
you've
was
inserted
so
yourself.
concerned, right? And so over the years, I had to learn and understand, hey, that's none of your business. And if they do reach out for help, you tell them exactly, well, this is what I did and I went to counseling. Leave it at that. And then it's up to them, because everybody is responsible, like we've said in other episodes, for their own happiness, for their own peace. I'm not responsible for that. Even if it's my family member and we've grown up together and all of this, I'm not responsible for that. You're an individual and we all have to find our own way. So that was my experience. I was definitely the enabler.
Ooh, baby,
A
you
few
was the
times.
And you know what? It's nothing wrong with that, because I want to make that clear. Let me see how I can put this.
I think there's nothing wrong with nurturing.
Nurturing,
I was a
yes.
nurturer.
But it becomes, okay, that's why we're talking about that fine line. See,
Yeah.
we got to understand, enabling is not I don't want it to be look like it's a total negative, because some people you are placed. God will place
Correct.
people.
Assignments.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would assign you people to help. Notice I said help, not enable, but you just have to be careful with how you navigate those waters.
And you have to nip it in the bud when it gets uncomfortable. Just you have to politely say, that's not something I'm going to be comfortable with.
Yep.
And just know, like, you're not responsible for them. You're not their savior. You're not their salvation. And that was something that I felt like, well, if I don't do it, they've got nobody.
Right.
And that's never true. It's never, ever true. Because who did I have? I had God.
Right. Everybody has whoever they believe in. And the thing about that is, sometimes we tend not to use our own resources.
Correct.
We don't want to be resourceful. We want to pick up the phone. Hey, Aquaman, I ran into this. What can I do? But did you first try to figure it out on your own?
Correct.
And a lot of times we live in a world, a fast-paced society. So we want instant gratification.
That's right. And answers.
So we tend to want to rely on somebody else to give us the answer.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you research it yourself, it sticks with you.
Yep.
As opposed to just grabbing the phone and getting the answer easily. When you do the research, when you put in the work yourself, it will always stay with you.
Most definitely. And a lot of times people just don't believe that. Sometimes people just want to dump. You want to be a dump truck, just dumping all your problems on somebody. First, ask yourself, how is this beneficial, me dumping? Sometimes you do. Now, I sometimes keep a lot inside, and I know that we always preach you need to let that out to somebody. So it is good to do that, but you need to have your own set of boundaries when you're going to dump on somebody. You need to know where that thin line is. Oh, I can't just dump on them every day. I can't call such and such every day, every night.
Cognizant.
Yes. And sometimes we're just not that. And we need to work on that.
Absolutely.
In society. Let's explore some of the characteristics of codependent people. Some characteristics of codependent people are they have a tendency to confuse love and pity with a tendency to love people that can pity and rescue. Who they can pity and rescue.
Yes.
Look, you sound like you know something about that. Tell us about that.
Well, there are people out there that do want to be rescued. And again, just going back to my own experience, I was at a point in my life where I wanted somebody to rescue me. I wanted somebody to come and save me. I wanted somebody to take me away from whatever I was going through in that period in my life. And I felt like there was no one. So therefore, when I came across people that I could just tell had that same type of energy, I wanted to rescue them. Like, look, it's better on this side, but it takes people time. It really does. So, yeah, that was something that I had to actually just understand, that people that do want to be rescued, they can easily suck you in if you're not strong enough. And if you haven't set the boundaries like we've talked about.
Something you said, it's almost like you are a magnet to something. But what is it that they say in the church? Something went through my mind as you was talking. When they say the wrong spirit, you can help that wrong spirit, and then that spirit jumps inside. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you mean. Basically, you will you attract what's already in you at some point.
Yes, that's what they was talking about, like in this spiritual realm. They were, that spirit getting on you. And then sometimes it's not attracting the same spirit. You want to have compassion for that person. Then that spirit has jumped on you. Whatever they're dealing with. It's just, I don't know why that came to me. Because every time you speak, it makes me think of, because you always say you're drawn to something. I'm like, it's like a magnet.
Yeah. But we are, like, in general, we really are. We're drawn to certain spirits, not to go off into all of that. At the same time, we just have to be aware. And that's the other part. Like, a lot of times we're not aware. Like I said, I wasn't aware that I was brought up this way. So therefore, whatever my kindness, my nurturing, whatever that is to some people have never had it.
Right.
They don't know what it looks like. So they see me and they're like, ooh, this is something that I can benefit from. So they will either abuse it or they will cherish it.
Right.
And it took a long time for me to find people that understood how to cherish that quality in me instead of abusing it. So once I learned that I don't need to be rescued at all. and I'm a lot stronger than I think I am. So it's just all about just really like reflecting on yourself and really, again, being aware, like how you're presenting yourself to people and vice versa.
So when you found out you didn't need to be rescued, it's almost like you've also had an episode of relying on others, like you became a person that was codependent on someone else too. In some aspects.
In a sense, I think I was looking for a type of love that I actually wasn't going to get anymore.
And that's another characteristic that it says an extreme need for approval or
validation and recognition. Yeah, that was me. That was definitely me.
So you definitely carried that. That's why I was saying I feel a little codependency as you're talking.
Yeah.
And then it's also, what you're saying, difficult identifying your feelings. And another one is holding on to toxic relationships due to fear or abandonment that you're going to lose someone.
I went through all of that. Ooh. The feelings. And see, I was brought up to not show my feelings, not be emotional. I was taught to push all of that. You got to be strong. Don't cry. I was just telling a friend earlier today, you know, this is actually a rough time of year for me because there's a lot of people that were close to me that left around this time. And their birthdays are also around this time. So now in this stage in my life, if I feel like crying, I just cry. I let it out because for so many years, up until probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I would just keep it all in, push it down. I'd cry, you know, in private so nobody would ever know. But no, now I'll just tell people I'm not having a good day. This is what's going on. I might be a little fragile. And if I have to start crying, just know I'm going to get it out and I'll get back to work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I do that because it's not healthy to hold that in. And so for so long, I did not have a voice because my feelings are my voice.
Right.
So I wasn't taught to express that. I was taught to just keep going. You just keep going. So
yeah, most of us was taught that to be tough. That's why I think sometimes we get to that as we get older, that strong Black woman.
But you know, we're at a point now where I would like for us to really work on making that look different. Being a strong Black woman does not mean the same thing exactly, or isn't seen the same way as it was back when we were growing up.
Right.
We can cry, we can be vulnerable, and it's okay. It actually shows that we know how to control ourselves, honestly. We know how to govern ourselves, as the old folks say.
Govern yourself accordingly.
That's right.
Yes. And another characteristic is making excuses for poor behavior. You know, a lot of times we make excuses for people's poor behavior. Oh, that's just Kiana. You know how she is.
Done that too. Yeah.
You done made a mess over here. We talking about that's just her. You know, she going through a little something.
Right, yeah. That's the biggest part. Well, they just had a bad day. I did too.
Right. But did you check them on it so they're not doing it again instead of just saying, oh, that's just Kiana, that's just Aquanet, that's just such and such. No. No,
we gotta
quit
address
accepting people's bad behaviors and their poor choices in life.
Correct. Yeah.
And did you know that codependents often take on the role of their benefactor to an individual in need? For example, a wife might cover her alcoholic husband. You know, be like, oh, he's fine. He just had a 6-pack. He always drinks as a 6-pack. You know,
at 8:00 in the morning.
So guess what? What you said, 8:00 in the morning. What did she just do?
Cover for him.
Covering for him. Yes. A mother may make excuses for her truant child. Oh, it's nothing. Little Timmy didn't want to go to school today, so I kept him home. But every Monday, he don't want to go to school.
Right.
That's a problem.
It is. It is.
You enabling. That's a problem. I need you to get that together.
Absolutely.
Or we've seen this where a father may pull some strings to keep his child from suffering consequences of delinquent behavior. You know, how many times have our parents or, you know, somebody gotten us out of certain situations?
Or if we want to go a little bit further, siblings that do each other's homework.
So So it sounded like, was you doing the homework or somebody was doing yours?
Oh, no. Neither of the above. But I did have some friends. I was like, how did you get that done already? Oh, my brother did it. He already had this teacher last year. Oh, so you just kept the... Yeah, he keeps all his work for me. Wow.
And that leads to enabling and codependency.
That's right, yeah.
Because the brother has enabled the other brother to be codependent on him. Woo, child, baby.
And this creates laziness also.
Yeah, what you said. And learn, you know what that also teaches? I'm just going to coast through life.
That's right,
By
yeah.
expecting other people to push me through when I haven't done the work.
They'll find people. Sure will.
Ooh, let's talk a little bit about compassion for a minute. Compassion is not about being nice and avoiding conflict. It means being in the conflict together. Sadness is when you can see and recognize another person's sadness, their anger, their fear, and their pain while speaking your truth with care and love, avoiding attacking the person or shaming them. Compassion is about being vulnerable with your heart. Compassion acts don't have to be grand shows of generosity, nor do they need to be exclusively for someone who is in pain. You may have already performed small acts of compassion without realizing it. Everyday compassion includes holding the door open for someone as they enter or exit, buying a meal for someone in need, being a listening ear that is non-judgmental, or simply just asking someone how their day is going, are all acts of compassion that connect us to other people in positive, healthy ways that are beneficial to our physical and mental health. Compassion is also beneficial by promoting social connections. Social connections are important to adaptive human functioning as it relates to increased self-esteem and empathy for others. Compassion is a vital, it's as vital to life as the air we breathe. So you see how, like, can y'all imagine that? That compassion is vital to life as the air we breathe. When we know we need to breathe, we need oxygen, we need this air.
Yeah.
So why do we not think about being compassionate to one another all the time? Like, you know, just the pure acts of kindness.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're enabling or somebody's going to be codependent just because I open a door for you. That's not going to mean that every 10 stops at a door, you're going to expect me to open it. You get what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
But it's just the thought of just being compassionate. I kind of wanted to throw, I know, compassion in there in this topic because sometimes we think there's got to be these big grand gestures.
Correct.
And they don't. That's why I wanted to bring those simple examples because we all need love. Caring is sharing. Being polite never hurt anybody.
Correct.
You know, rudeness is what hurts.
And it takes a lot of energy to be rude, too.
Don't it? But you know what? I'm starting to believe it don't. Because it's too much of it in the world.
It's a lot
I'm like,
of
well,
it.
yeah. You know, it's kind of like, you get what I'm saying? It's like it's so many mean people, especially, I know we always talk about in the age of social media, the Twitter fingers. And you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody's quick to be mean. And I really don't understand why. Like, it's no point. And it really isn't a point to that. It's just like, be nice. Nice never hurt nobody that I know.
Right.
I didn't think that telling somebody thank you and not was going to hurt you. Or hurt your feelings by me saying, thank you, girl, for holding that door.
Yeah.
When did that start hurting people?
It actually does, but it goes back to how we were raised. It really does. Well, you ain't got to do all of that. I mean, that was just something simple that I did. But you still are polite.
Right.
What's wrong with being polite and courteous? Like, you were courteous, so I'm being courteous back. It's almost like we don't want or we don't expect reciprocation anymore.
That's it.
I don't know how we got there, but it's like reciprocation is just a weird thing that nobody does anymore.
Now, Aquadet, did you know that codependent friendships are a thing, girl?
Yeah, very much so.
Did you know that not all besties are good for you?
That's right. Yeah.
Just like relationships, friendships can be unhealthy too. One common characteristic of a toxic friendship is, there go that word again, codependency. Close friends And BFFs are important, don't get me wrong. However, codependent friendships that are so close that all boundaries have completely melted away are not cool. Boundaries define our personal limits. They help us separate our own needs and feelings from other people's needs and feelings. Codependent friendship is a one-sided friendship. Y'all hear?
I hear you. Yeah.
Codependent friendship
One-sided.
is a one-sided friendship. It is when you expect your friend to always come bail you out and save you or listen to your endless complaints, but are rarely there. But you are rarely there for them. Woo! Codependent. Look, I'm laughing because sometimes I'm like, am I guilty of that? Codependent, but I don't think I'm one-sided. But sometimes, we do call and dump our, like I was talking about earlier, dumping your stuff because, but sometimes we have to vent. But codependent friendship is conditional friendship. It is a friendship built on a cycle of being needy and needing to be needed.
Yeah.
Ooh, that stressed me out.
Say that again.
That just stressed me out. Codependent friendship is conditional friendship. It is a friendship built on a cycle of being needy and needing to be needed.
Man, that's powerful right there.
Woo, baby. I told you we're going to learn a little something today,
we
baby.
learning, y'all.
Baby, I was in my brain with this episode. I said, I got to, some said, when you came up with the topic, Aquanet, let me tell you what happened. Myself said, Self, you got to teach listening land out there. They need a little help.
There we go. Yeah.
So I said, Self, get them all the way together on this episode.
And you doing it.
And you might need to get yourself together.
Hello.
Woo, y'all. Ooh, we in here saying something today. My God, today. We're going to help them. If they want to be helped or not, you're going to learn something today.
That's right.
And let me go back to that codependent friendship. It's a friendship built on giving away your personal power.
Again with this.
Yes, I told you I'm on to something, baby.
Personal power.
Yes, your personal power.
I'm awake now. No.
Ooh, baby. And as such, codependent friendship is a dead-end street. It can end in feelings of disappointment, betrayal, and deceit.
Absolutely.
When a codependent friendship falls through, it can feel like your friend was only a fake friend who used you as a pity object to feel competent and superior, or who played the victim in order to leech off your energy.
Yes.
Without ever truly valuing and respecting you as a worthy individual. They didn't respect you as a worthy individual.
That's right.
Now you see why I said not all besties are good for you. Especially when they display the behaviors I just mentioned. Somebody right now is saying to themselves, let me reevaluate some of my friendships.
That's right.
Ooh, baby, y'all better start getting that pen and pad or your phone out in the notes and start putting your pros and cons of being friends with some of these people to find out what kind of relationship you're having. But now, don't get me wrong. It is normal and healthy to sometimes need extra support from your friend. Heck, we all have friends that we have called during a breakup. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Or after losing a job, where we just have to vent. But if one person seems to always need to be rescued, it may be signs of a codependent friendship, which lacks a true give or take dynamic.
That's right. Reciprocation.
Woo, baby. Aquanet, can you relate to this?
Yes, I can. Reciprocation.
Woo, baby, that's your word for the night.
Yes, it is.
Baby. So did you cut some friends off for that, or?
I have created some distances with some friends. I won't say I necessarily cut them off, but when people actually show you that they don't have time, that's the big thing for me. They don't have time. They don't make the time. And if they do make the time, they're not present.
It's almost like they're rushed, like I'm just here to be here. Kind of.
Right, right. They're rushed or they're distracted by something else. And so when that happens, you may just feel like, you know what, well, maybe what I have going on isn't as important. And then once you start feeling that, and again, notice I said feel. And we have to be more in touch and in tune with our feelings, because they never tell us anything wrong. So if you are starting to feel it, or even if you think it, 8 times out of 10, you probably just need to like create some distance. Just not be as available. And not to say that, like I said, you don't cut them off completely.
Right.
Unless they're just doing you just dog dirty. You know, we understand that. But if you're not getting the type of reciprocation and, you know, what you need, then there's an issue. And it's okay, again, to set that boundary for yourself. You don't even have to tell them, but just to set the boundary for yourself and say, you know what? I'm not getting any fulfillment from this part of our friendship. So maybe I should just scale back. And then at that point, you really start to see how people react to you even scaling back or falling back, as we used to say. And if they notice it, then maybe you all can have a conversation about it. At the same time, some people, they may not even notice anything and you may never hear it. So then you just know, okay, well, this is where I put them. And maybe I just trusted them too much. And I think that's a lot of it. And you were talking about the betrayal. That's where you can kind of feel betrayed at some point. Now, for some people in listener land, as you say, they may be thinking, well, you know, that's just how life is. I mean, sometimes people have time for you, sometimes they don't. This is true. At the same time, if you're a person like I was, I invest in people. If you're not an investor, then yeah, you can just bounce around. It's fine. But I invest in people because I'm just an intentional person.
Right.
So I'm not wasting my time on people because my time and my feelings are very valuable. And I feel like everyone should think that way. But I'm learning not everybody thinks that way.
And with that being said, oftentimes that leads to one friend feeling depleted after hanging out with the other friend.
That's right. Yeah.
The giver friend often enjoys listening and helping out that other person. But all the time that can be draining, is as you said, and it takes a toll on the giver friend because you're the giver, you're the investor friend, which causes you to become emotionally drained after each conversation, after each outing, or whatever's going on between you two.
That's right. Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, wow, you've been there, lived it. I don't really think I don't know. You know.
Self-reflect for just a second. You can do it.
You know what's funny? Because I don't really fool with too many people. So I don't know. Something.
And some people are good at that, like in the beginning also. You know, we talked on another episode about being an introvert and being an extrovert.
I think I'm both. Yeah, didn't I say I think I'm both?
Yeah. So just with that being said, there are some people that just don't know like how to move around, I'll say, like that too. So sometimes we do let the wrong people into our life and we get attached because maybe they're fulfilling something in that temporary space of whatever it was we were going through. But then sometimes we don't realize, well, I was going through a phase, so maybe that's not what I needed, but it helped for that moment. But then the other person thinks like, well, we're friends. Like, what do you mean? What are you doing?
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I don't fool with too many people on that level. Like I don't let too many people just to get too close to me. I deal with you however we're dealing. So I don't get too I'm invested in my friends. Don't get me wrong, because I root for them, I cheer for them, all that good stuff. But I think sometimes I just don't let that stuff consume me. Maybe I'm just
some people
self-absorbed. Maybe I'm just about
self-absorbed.
Yeah, but I don't want to say I'm that person. But I don't feel like I'm. Like, I don't take on my friend. You know, you can tell me something. I'm ready to ride or die with you, whatever. Yeah. I'm about it, but I don't let it. Once we deal with that, it's gone. I ain't thought about it really no more.
And see, that's the difference. I'm a thinker. I'm a philosopher. So if something's bothering my friend, I'm usually caught up in the moment of their emotions. Like, I take all of that in.
I mean, I do, but I'm just saying I don't let it linger on for weeks and months. But you saying you let it linger on?
I'll be thinking about it the next day, the day after. I'm going to check on them. Like, well, I know you had a bad day, and I'm just making sure today is better. I have gotten better at not holding on so tight.
Wait, let me rephrase that, because I'm coming off like I'm just don't care. No, I do call them the next day or whatever, because I'm trying to, like, I'm not a mean girl. Like, I don't want people to think, that's why she ain't got no friends. No, I do call them and check on, but I'm saying I'm not finna be down in the gutter with you. I got to, let me say this, it's not just about me. Sometimes, as my mama, she seems to think I think the world revolves around me, but I mean, hell, I don't know. I can't describe myself, but I'm really compassionate person.
Yes.
But I don't, as I think back, doing self-reflection, I don't let people, like me and Keita talk about something, and, everybody knows since we've been back, like we've been hanging out, blah, blah, blah for years, but then we kind of got separate and then we're back together. Mm-hmm. But we have our issues and we talk about something and I'm like, bump it, let's move on. I'm not harboring it for weeks. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, even if she's going through something, I'm going through something, whether it's business or personal, we don't harbor on it. We talk about it, we go, and I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I've learned to keep it moving because I can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, and that is something that you have learned. Mm-hmm. It's a skill. Some of us, like myself, I am just now learning how to do that the past 5 years. Like, okay, that's their problem. I can't fix it. I was groomed to be a fixer. I was groomed this way. So it's hard to unlearn that. Whereas you've been taught, well, do your thing. Take care of you. I was taught it's not about you. It's about everybody else. So that's why it's the opposite.
Well, that's funny because I don't know. One day I'm going to crack the code of myself because it's really true. I don't really know. Like, I can't articulate if somebody else asks me what kind of person I can give you some adjectives, but to really think about it.
But see, like I said,
I don't know. It's like
I'm a thinker though. That's me.
Like I don't know what I'm gonna have to let people just tell me what they think I am because I really don't. I'm gonna have to really do some.
I ask myself questions. Yeah, I do a lot of self-reflections. Like, and I didn't realize that many people don't do that. Mm-hmm. That's something I've done my whole life, even as a child. I've talked to second, third generation cousins that knew me when I was little. They were like, well, you've always been a little adult. They were like, I remember when you were 10 years old and just the way you would talk about things, like, is that a grown person in there? So those are just things that I've just been conditioned that way. And again, I'm made the way I'm made and you're made the way you're made.
Yeah. And
there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's just, we're just aware of different things about ourselves.
I just be trying to think, what my mom and my granddad and my aunts and uncle, like, how did I grow? I don't know. I'm just different.
And see, I ask a lot of questions. I'm very curious. I'm very curious about things most people aren't curious about. So I'm a nerd.
I think it's kind of true. I just kind of stay to myself and in my own lane, I would say. And I kind of just, I don't want to feel like it's all about me, but I kind of not to veer in somebody else's lane unless I just every now and then have to.
I'm an explorer though. So I enjoy learning different things. And I'm not afraid. Like when I moved to Nashville 20 something years ago, my family was like, and you're there and what do you do when you get lost? I mean, I just keep driving till I find my way around. And they were like, oh, you're so brave. Why am I brave? I mean, again, I don't know. I just enjoy learning. I enjoy exploring. So,
well, I'm going to say this, that you all have to remember that codependency takes two to tango.
It does. Say it again.
Codependency takes two to tango. The victim and the savior are both playing out their own psychodramas and the tapestry of their friend. And I'm doing air quotes, their friend.
That's right.
Even if you realize you are in a codependent friendship,
you're just as guilty as the next person. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just had to go ahead and throw that in there. You are just as guilty. So there is no blame. There's no pointing the finger. It is both people involved.
Baby, you must knew what I was going to say.
Hello.
Baby, she hit that. She over here read my mind. You took the words right out. That was actually what I was about to say. You are in this together. You would not be playing along if the friendship wasn't doing something for the part of yourself that believes you're not good enough and needs something more. The good news, y'all, is that becoming conscious of what is going on gives you the chance to disentangle yourself, bring up the issues with your friend to hopefully stop this toxic and dysfunctional cycle of codependency. If for some reason the toxic behavior cannot be resolved, just know it's okay to walk away from the toxicity from your own well-being and peace for your own well-being and peace, just walk away.
Preach.
Sometimes you gotta say, baby, I'm gonna love you from a distance.
That's right. That's right.
So, Aquanet, what advice would you give to the listeners in terms of being an enabler or being in a codependent relationship?
First, understand your worth and your boundaries, and understand it's okay to have boundaries. And if a person doesn't respect those boundaries, then that's somebody you want to love at a distance, as you say, Kiana.
Ooh, yes, you have to. And I want to thank you again, Aquanet, for being my co-host on the I Am Kiana Scales podcast. Woo! Real talk. You can't change others, but you sure can stop enabling others and their bad life choices. Rescuing someone who continues to make poor choices is not called love. It is called enabling. Stop enabling and refuse to be a safety net, so the individual you are enabling can grow up. Remember, enabling is helping a person in a way that feeds the dysfunction, and helping is being there for someone in a way that does not support the dysfunction. Anytime you assist or allow another person to continue in their unproductive, unhealthy, or addictive behavior, whether actively or passively, you become the enabler. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to I Am Kiana Scales on YouTube and Spotify, and follow I Am Kiana Scales on IG and TikTok. Also, download the Streets 99.3 app. Ladies, are you looking for the hottest fashions and accessories? Well, look no further. The Closet Experience has you covered. The Closet Experience has been delighting women of all ages and sizes since 2009. Visit theclosetexperience.com and save 10% with code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. Looking for homemade taste with a touch of elegance? Visit justadelight.com and let Delightful Cakes and Catering cater your next event or special occasion. Delightful Cakes and Catering, where homemade taste meets elegant simplicity. Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Scales podcast.